The voice coach sure loves his granny, who he once said was unreal at making dinner. As Michael Bublé once put it, Niall Horan is truly an Irish king. The Voice Season 28 coach, who already has 2 wins under his belt, has impressed Reba McEntire with an Irish jig during blind auditions and certainly makes everyone melt with his accent. So it's no surprise he feels nostalgic about a certain traditional Irish dish cooked by his beloved grandmother. Horan has long been a fan of his grandmother's cooking. On her birthday in 2012, for instance, Horan tweeted that she's unreal at making dinner. And while Horan is an international superstar who travels all over the world, he keeps in touch with his granny, telling RTE in 2020 that he got my 89-year-old grandmother using FaceTime. Horan's mother, Maura Gallagher, also shared in a 2022 interview with RTE that the voice coach thinks his grandmother is the greatest thing. The love, of course, goes both ways. She's definitely the proud granny, she said. The famous granny. A proud and famous granny who can make a delicious Irish potato dish. Niall Horan loves Guinness, potatoes, and a traditional Irish dish his granny used to make him as a kid. In a 2023 taste test video for LAD Bible, Horan compared a variety of Irish and British snacks. More often than not, he sided with his home country of Ireland, calling a pint of Guinness the real deal and a thing of beauty. Horan also revealed that he hates mushy peas, but loves any and all types of potatoes. We like them roasted, we like them mashed, the Mullingar, Ireland native said. We do live up to the stereotype, I like Guinness and I do like potatoes. Next up? Colcannon, a traditional and simple Irish dish made with mashed potatoes and cabbage, dating back to the 1700s. Cabbage and mashed potato. My granny used to do this when we were younger, Horan said as he ate a few bits of colcannon. Yeah, that's very good. Horan added that he felt nostalgia as he tasted the potato dish, sharing that his granny would serve it with any of the meats, gravy, sometimes a pie. Niall Horan revealed his favorite Irish saying on Today. When the slow hand singer appeared on Today in 2023 for a segment called 8 Questions Before 8 a.m., Horan revealed a few fun facts about himself. For starters, his favorite snack to have on tour is chicken wings. He has no plans to ever be a blonde again, and he'd choose to be stranded on a deserted island with Blake Shelton because he's sure he'd have a pocketknife and could get us out of any sort of trouble. As for his favorite Irish expression, Pog Mothoin, Horan quickly answered before revealing with a laugh, it means kiss my arse. Niall Horan returns as a coach on The Voice Season 28. Along with Bublé, McEntire, and Snoop Dogg, Horan will return for his 3rd season as a coach on The Voice Season 28, premiering on NBC in fall 2025. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon when Niall Horan found himself back in his hometown of Mullingar, County Westmeath, sitting at the wooden kitchen table of his childhood home. The kettle whistled softly behind him as a rain shower tapped the windows, a rhythm he hadn't heard in far too long. Fame had taken him all around the world, from massive stadiums in Tokyo to intimate venues in Nashville. But nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to this moment. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and was instantly transported back to his Granny Margaret's house, the scent of boiling potatoes, the sharp sweetness of leeks frying in butter, and the unmistakable aroma of her signature Irish stew floating through the air. She used to make it every Sunday, Neil said quietly to himself, smiling at the memory. Granny's Coddle. Dublin Coddle. That was the name of the dish, one steeped in Irish tradition, often overlooked in tourist brochures but beloved by locals. Made with sausages, rashers, onions, and potatoes all slow-cooked in broth until everything melted together into a warm, comforting embrace, it was a recipe passed down through generations in the Horan family. For Neil, it wasn't just food. It was heritage. It was love. It was a connection to simpler days, to his roots, to a time before tour buses and chart-topping albums. He had just returned from a whirlwind global tour promoting his latest album, The Show. Though fans hailed it as his most emotionally mature work yet, there was something about being home that stirred a different kind of emotion in him, something deeper and more personal. And today, he wanted to recreate that memory. But first, he needed the recipe. Rummaging through drawers in the old kitchen, he found what he was looking for, a tattered spiral notebook with floral print, faded and dog-eared with time. It was his granny's recipe book. He thumbed through pages until he found the one labeled Mom's Dublin Coddle, written in her familiar, careful cursive. He chuckled at the note scribbled beneath the title. Don't forget the parsley, Neil, and no cheating with those fancy sausages. With renewed determination, he set out to the local market. Locals nodded and waved, and while many recognized him, they respected his quiet day off. In the butcher's shop, he picked up traditional Irish pork sausages, thick-cut rashers, and fresh herbs. At the grocer's, he found onions, potatoes, and a hearty loaf of soda bread. Back home, the kitchen filled with the rich smells of browning meat and bubbling broth. As he chopped the onions, eyes watering, he chuckled. Granny always said if you weren't crying from the onions, you weren't doing it right. With the ingredients layered in a large pot, he poured in just enough broth to cover them and set it to simmer low and slow, just like she used to. As the stew cooked, he picked up his guitar, sitting near the window as the rain slowed to a mist. A melody began to form, soft, haunting, full of longing. It wasn't a performance. It wasn't a new single. It was just him, the stew, the rain, and the memory of a woman who had always believed in him, even when he was just a freckled boy with dreams too big for Mullingar. He whispered lyrics into the quiet. There's a place in my mind, where the kettle's always on, and the table's set for stories, even after you've gone. When the caudle was ready, he served himself a bowl and sat at the same table where he had once drawn crayon portraits and eaten too many biscuits before dinner. He took a bite, and his eyes welled up, not from the onions this time. It tasted exactly like hers. It wasn't just the ingredients, or the hours of slow cooking, it was the love. It was the memory of her humming old Irish ballads as she stirred the pot, of her sneaking him extra rashers when his mum wasn't looking, of how she called him her little star long before the rest of the world did. Later that evening, he posted a photo of the caudle to Instagram, just the bowl, no flashy filters, no captions except, "Granny would have been proud," Ireland emoji, pot of food emoji. Fans flooded the comments. Is that Dublin caudle? OMG nostalgia. My granny used to make that too, crying face emoji, red heart emoji. We need a Niall Horan cooking show ASAP. You should record that song, Neil. I feel it. He didn't expect such a reaction. What had started as a quiet, personal day had turned into something shared, a thread connecting him to thousands who miss someone, or something, or some dish that reminded them of who they used to be. The next morning, as he packed up to return to London, he tucked Granny Margaret's recipe book into his bag. Not long after, during an interview on Irish radio, the host asked about that post. I just missed home, Neil said. Missed her. It's funny how a smell, a taste, something like caudle, can bring everything rushing back. It wasn't just food, you know? It was a memory wrapped in a meal. He paused, then added, I'm thinking of writing a song about it. And he did. Months later, during a surprise acoustic session, Neil debuted a new track simply titled Granny's Table. The room went still as he sang. In the heart of the kitchen, with steam in the air. She stirred more than dinners, she showed that she cared. Every bite was a story, every spoonful a smile. And I'd give up the world just to sit there a while. The audience cried. So did Neil. And somewhere in the rainy hills of Mullingar, where the grass stays green and the tea is always warm, perhaps his granny was smiling too. Because sometimes, the path home isn't paved with fame, but with memories simmered in broth, and love passed down one bowl at a time.